Well, George Kittle not happy about the smelling salts being banned from the NFL. But is there more to it than meets the eye?
It's football time.
Alrighty, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the All Round Sports Podcast. Sports, everything on this channel. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, we're talking about the breaking news coming out of the NFL as the smelling salts have been banned and also ammonia packets. And George Kittle recently spoke out about this, saying, quote, "I considered retirement. We have to figure out a middle ground." And this is drawing a lot of people's eyes for maybe all the wrong reasons. But did this possibly ruin his career as far as performance? Now, I'm going to talk about this in just a second. Before we do, if you guys do enjoy this video, do me a big favor and smash like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. For now, let's talk about George Kittle. George Kittle. So, before we get started into the George Kittle discussion, I just want to simplify what smelling salts are. Here's a little thing I found on Yahoo Sports that helped out in this. Smelling salts can come in the form of bottled powders or packets that feature ammonia and also other chemicals. It is a very strong smell that they are mostly used to treat feigning victims, that athletes have used them for years as a way to become more alert during and before or during a game in order to boost performance. So that's why it was all in there in the first place. But George Kittle, why in the world are you getting so worked about smelling salts? Because in his career, of course, he's had eye-popping numbers. He's had 4 1,000-yard seasons. He had only one double-digit touchdown year. But I want to go over something because I feel like this needs to be said, especially to you, George Kittle. Let me go over some stats during this man in the playoffs. In the playoffs, he's had 51 targets, 33 receptions, 455 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. And you're really coming out here and saying that you want the smelling salts back? And then not only that, did you know that George Kittle in the 2 Super Bowls he's played in has had 6 catches for 40 yards? 6 catches for 40 yards in the freaking Super Bowl, the biggest event on the planet. And you're telling me that this man wants to have smelling salts back? Well, if it's really because the smelling salts that are helping you perform, why haven't you performed in the playoffs? Because last time I checked, you were the go-to man on every single play for the last 3 years. You're a guy that you were the same guy that after Super Bowl 54 that will be back with a vengeance, only to get beat by the Kansas City Chiefs again in the freaking Super Bowl.
Oh my! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, now you die.
So if you're telling me, I think it's more George Kittle needing to get more mature because this is what I'm talking about. His playoff stats are horrible. They're even worse than Travis Kelsey, and Mark Andrews. They're even worse than that. And then not only that, let me go over it. And you've been in the league since 2017, and you have not done anything to help this team out. You've been in the league for about 8 years, and you still have not been able to help this team win a Super Bowl. And you've had so many great guys around you to help you out. And not only that, you're one of the best tight ends the world has ever seen. You got your money. You got an extension. And so why are you so freaking concerned about smelling salts? Even if it is true that the smelling salts are helping you perform, then why in the world are you not performing in the playoffs when the team needs you the most? You're the go-to weapon of this team, other than Christian McCaffrey and other receivers. You were the go-to guy in those playoff runs. You were the go-to guy. You're a fan favorite in San Francisco. And my grandma, the last time her team won a Super Bowl, she was probably back in her 50s. She was probably back in her 50s. 50s. So, and she's like, what? I think she's like in the 70s now. Correct me if I'm wrong. But why in the world are you getting so worked up about smelling salts when you haven't done jack in the playoffs? You've had 6 catches in the Super Bowl for 40 yards. Not even a single touchdown, I might add. When you've had 2 likely Hall of Fame rosters with Hall of Fame caliber players like Richard Sherman that helped you guys out, and he actually won a Super Bowl in Seattle with the most famous post-game interview of all time. That's another story for another day. Only that, a few years later, you got the best roster ever assembled, and you couldn't even do a dang thing.
And you two do anything right?
Y'all couldn't do nothing. This is why I constantly get on y'all Niner fans. This is why. Why in the world are we getting so concerned of a little smelling salts when he hasn't even done his job in the playoffs? He hasn't done his job. The last time the 49ers have been in the playoffs, he had 4 catches for 36 yards in the Super Bowl. The biggest event on the planet. The biggest event on the planet when it's a championship on the line, when it's a championship or bust. You, George Kittle, are the go-to guy on this roster. You, George Kittle, are the man that they just paid to a 3-year extension, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And not only that, you just got your money. You just got your money, and now you're working behind Brock Purdy as well on an injury-riddled roster. With one that had the best roster ever assembled 2 years ago, and you still have not been able to bring this team home a championship. If you want to get those smelling salts back, then actually go out there and perform in the playoffs instead of just laying an egg or taking a nap for all we care. Because George Kittle is terrible in the playoffs. He's terrible. He's had 455 yards receiving and two touchdowns. DK has more than that. Well, probably not, but I'm just framing that. Even guys other than, and let me think about some other guys. Mark Andrews has more touchdowns than that. Travis Kelce has more touchdowns than that. Jimmy Graham has more touchdowns than that. Shannon Sharp has more touchdowns than that, and more Super Bowl rings. And Rob Gronkowski does. What in the world? And this guy's remarked in the top 5 tight end conversation. Whoever's doing that, whoever's putting him in that conversation must be out of their freaking mind. Because look at his playoff performances. He has been horrid in the playoffs. And not only that, you've had 4 years of 1,000 yards. Are you freaking kidding me, George Kittle? George Kittle, the main man of that team that helped establish the culture that y'all have currently established. And you're telling me you have 40 yards in the freaking Super Bowl? And not only that, you have 2 touchdowns in the freaking playoffs altogether? Either go out there and perform like we all know you can in the playoffs, or just ban the smelling salts altogether because it is not coming back, George Kittle. You can try to bring him back all you want, but until you actually go out there and perform in the postseason, they ain't coming back. So do us all a favor and actually perform in the playoffs instead of holding a choke bag with your mouth shut. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What do you guys think about the smelling salts whole fiasco? Let me know in the comments what you guys think down below. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do me a big favor and smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'll see you on the next one. Ciao for now.